Guys, this is Cayley. I am back with another what sold from last week video. In today's video, we're going to be going over our sales that happened here at this office between Sunday and Saturday of last week. And we're going to be going over the breakdown of numbers on both eBay and Poshmark. If you guys are new to the channel, I do these videos every single week, so consider subscribing down below. What can I say? It has been a pretty steady, like, summer slowdown. I don't really know what else to say. It's been good. I feel like, you know, I do have some ups and downs, but generally speaking, it's pretty steady. Still doing promoted listings. That has not changed, and it continues to be, you know, a good increased boost. Oh, we did just this past week start listing an additional 5 per day. So we are now at 45 per day, setting active every day. Hopefully I'll be able to get that number up towards Q4 before Q4 hits, so that it's not like a drastic change for us and we're used to it. But I am steadily increasing the amount that we are listing per day. Not sure if you guys remember, but last year we were listing 45. I think we even jumped for a couple weeks to 50, and we had dropped significantly since then. So I've been listing 40 a day for a really long time. So this is a pretty big change for us, and I'm excited to see how it affects our numbers over the next several months.
Alright guys, so all of these sales happened between June 30th through July 6th. I am trying to catch up on what sold videos since leaving for vacation. In total, this particular week, I sold almost 300 items. Gross item sales were around $8,800, and then my total average sale price was pretty low, around $30. My average sale price on eBay was actually kind of lower at $32, and then my average sale price on Poshmark was around $26, which actually is pretty good for Poshmark. So we're just holding steady there. I have been running quite a few sales to start fleshing out some of the older items, not only on Poshmark but also on eBay. So starting to see some progress there, and I'm also starting to run not very large sales, but some sales on summer stuff because people have started buying fall, so I can see the transition happening, and I want to make sure to move as much as I can while we're still in the season. So I think that's the reason for a lower average sale price, but sales were still pretty good, and I am glad that we're running those sales. Let's dive into some of these individual items. I tried to pull some of the fall stuff, as well as some summer stuff that we're still selling, but you are going to see a big change on my channel soon because we are switching our sourcing over. So this first one is a St. John item. If you guys are not familiar with St. John, they are a designer brand. Excuse me. This is one of their older labels, and they are well known for a particular material, which is this one here. It's called their Santana knit. It has a very specific feel and look to it. And if you find a Santana knit piece, it is definitely going to elevate the item. I find that St. John tends to sit. It is not a quick flipper for me, but if you are willing to price it correctly, you can move it quicker, or you can price it, you know, pretty high and just wait for the right buyer. I try to price it accordingly. This is a 3-piece set, so it's got the skirt, the top, and the jacket in a really great size, a size medium or a 12. I listed this at $200, and it did sell for my full asking price, and it looks like it took about 3 weeks to sell. So I'm very happy with that sale, and if you're somebody passing on St. John, I would say maybe just look for the Santana knit pieces, particularly their blazers. Here is another St. John piece. This is also Santana knit. It is a pull-on maxi pencil skirt. And this one you can see big price difference because it was a singular piece. We listed this for $60, and it did sell for our full asking price. And this one also took 3 weeks to sell. So definitely keep your eye out. Like I said, if you're someone who's passing on St. John because you notice that it tends to sit, look for their Santana knit pieces, which, by the way, tend to be their older pieces. So if you're like finding modern stuff, I mean, maybe that stuff will sell, but generally speaking, for me, the vintage stuff seems to perform the best. All right, next up, there is a lower sell-through rate on this brand. I used to pick it up all the time. I still do pick it up. I enjoy finding it. It is John Varvatos, which is a men's brand. They make some really high quality pieces. Retail is pretty high. You could see they're made in Turkey. Good indicator that it might be of value if you find it in the wild. But definitely their outerwear. Their outerwear is still something I get really excited to pick up because it tends to flip pretty good. This is a men's hooded denim jacket. I listed this for $100. It sold for full asking price. And this one also took about 3 weeks to sell. I guess that's the theme of today's video, 3 weeks. This was an interesting sale. I honestly don't know much about this brand, so I couldn't tell you whether this is worth keeping your eye out for or not. It is Safini Le Lions. It appears to be maybe a vintage pair of boots. But the thing I wanted to show you was the leather. So especially during fall and winter, which is upcoming, different kinds of leather can perform, pretty well, and you want to be aware of what they are. In the men's category for shoes, for belts, even possibly for jackets, crocodile leather, ostrich leather, lamb leather, there's different special types of leather that you want to look out for. And they can really elevate a piece just because they're a little bit more rare. So this is ostrich leather, and you'll be able to tell because it'll have these little dots all over it. And that is the reason that these sold so well. So we listed these for $75. They did take a couple of months to sell, and they ended up selling on an offer to watcher for $64. Next up, this is a vintage shirt, single stitch. This is Smith & Wesson. Thought it was a cool shirt. It did have some staining throughout. We listed this for $100. It sold for our full asking price, and this also took 3 weeks to sell. What the heck? You guys will have to excuse me. I'm recovering from a sinus infection, so if my voice sounds a little nasally, that's why. All right, next up, this is a newer brand to me, definitely a bolo you want to keep your eye out for. It is Finister, and this is a really high quality men's wool sweater. We listed this for $70. It sold for our full asking price, and it actually sold the day after getting listed. So very high quality sweater, great brand, and thick, high quality wool sweaters, especially in the men's department, are something you're going to want to keep your eye out for because this is about to be like all people are picking up. So definitely a category worth looking into. Here's another, again, same thing, high quality, thick, chunky men's sweater. You're also going to want to keep your eye out for cable knit. So all over cable knit like this. A keyword you might want to use is fisherman. You can see we did that here. You're also going to want to keep your eye out for anything that says it's made in Ireland. A lot of people look for Irish wool. So this is an Ella Bean vintage men's sweater. We listed it for $65. It did have a couple of issues. Otherwise, I would have listed it much higher. It sold for our full asking price, and this one took about a month and a half to sell. All right, this is a really surprising sale. I saw that we picked this up in wholesale from either Nikki or Skylar, who are handling our wholesale accounts right now, and I was like, why did we pick up Fashion Nova? We never pick up Fashion Nova. And then I looked into it and I was like, wow, there's actually some decent comps on this. So this is a Fashion Nova men's, it was called the Smart Guy Wool Blend Overcoat, and it was new with tags. Very trendy. These very dressy men's wool coats will soon be very popular. It's going to be a category you're going to want to look for. We listed this for $40. It sold very quickly, actually within about a week, for an offer to watcher of $42. And again, this is Fashion Nova, guys. Like, really. Definitely shows you how well this category can perform if something is very on trend. I think this one is very on trend because of the longer length and the plaid. It is very academia inspired. Next up, this is another thick, high quality sweater. This one is vintage. It is CP Company by Massimo Osti. I don't know, but keep your eye out for vintage thick sweaters. Again, this one has sat for several months, I think just because I listed it as winter was starting to end, and it ended up sitting and being a drop price, but it still ended up selling even with some flaws for $55, which is awesome for a pre-owned men's sweater. Sweaters, keep your eye out. Next up, this is Vera Bradley. This is not a brand I pick up very often. However, anytime I notice a super substantial piece by them, maybe a backpack or like this large duffel bag, I usually look into it. This is a travel bag. We listed this for $45. It did sell for our full asking price, and it only took a week to sell. This is a summer item. We are still picking up anything Lilly Pulitzer in substantial pieces. We're definitely still going to get. This is a Cayley strapless jumpsuit in a size extra large. It ended up selling on a dropped price because it has sat a little bit longer for around $58. Let's see, I listed this at the end of February, so yeah, it's been a few months, but still a great piece. Lilly Pulitzer in size large and extra large have a really, really great sell-through rate. We probably just priced this too high originally. Next up, this is the brand Eton. I definitely don't get everything in this brand. However, this was a really cool bright multicolor print men's shirt. We've talked about it in previous What Sold videos, but any kind of bright out there in your face pattern, colors, all of that, that's what people are looking for right now. So this one kind of drew our attention. We listed this one for $65. It did sell for our full asking price, and this one actually only took a few days to sell, which was very surprising. Next up, this is a new kind of belt that is out there now. It's like a ratchet belt, so there's no buckle. Got a little ratchet right here. A lot of companies are starting to come out with this. And this is a brand that seems to specialize in it. It is Next Belt. We listed this for $45. It did sell for our full asking price. And this one took a couple of months to sell. Definitely want to keep your eye out if you see any kind of belt like this. It's called a ratchet belt, and make sure to give it a look up because, like I said, I think it's like the new thing in belts. Next up, this is a fantastic men's brand to find. It is Diesel. So these are, it's like their loungewear Diesel underwear line, but they are a pair of men's sweat shorts. You can see that this is a little bit of an older label. Diesel's actually, they still make clothing, but their Y2K stuff performs really, really well, which is why we wanted to pick this up. I think we originally listed this a little bit too high, around maybe $65, $70. It ended up being sold at a drop price of around $54. And this one was listed at the end of February, so not too long to sell, but still several months longer than I would have liked. And here's another summer piece we are still picking up and performing well. It is Bryn Walker. They are well known for their linen pants. We have already started slowing down on linen. So unless it is a, higher valued linen brand, we're slowing off on it. Bryn Walker would be a linen piece I would still get. And especially if they have these super wide leg pants. We've talked about this at length in many of the What Sold videos recently, but these exaggerated pants are very trendy right now. Exaggerated wide legs, the barrel pants, the parachute pants, all of those things are what people are looking for right now. So we listed these ones for $45. These actually sold within a bundle, so they probably, if I was counting them as an individual sale, probably sold around $40. Definitely keep your eye out for Bryn Walker linen pieces, especially in the wide leg pants. Next up, this is the brand Cool. This can be a good outdoor wear brand to get. I have noticed that some of their styles are tapering off, so just be cautious. Make sure you do your comps on each specific piece. This one was called the Women's Free Range Pant, and it was new with tag, so it was kind of a no-brainer for us to pick up. We listed this for $45. It did sell for our full asking price. This was an interesting piece that we got from a wholesaler. This is a vintage paparazzi magazine clutch, very Y2K. I think that's, some of you are going to kill me, but I think that's Goldie Hawn. I don't know who that is. I can't really tell because of the buckle in the way, but interesting piece. I've definitely been picking up a lot of Y2K handbags. This is a really cool one, again, with the super unique stuff. This we listed for $45. It did sell for our full asking price. It even had some flaws, which you kind of expect with a Y2K piece, and it only took a few days to sell. Next up, this is another Y2K piece. This is an Echo Unlimited men's hoodie. You can see we use a lot of keywords: baggy, Y2K, skater, spell out. As I tell everybody in the Resellers Edge group, if you see something that Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad would wear in hoodies, it's probably worth getting. We did a whole Y2K deep dive. If you join Resellers Edge, you'll instantly get access to that replay of that call. But we go over everything men's and women's in the Y2K. We explain what it is and what all of the bolos are. This would be an example of a bolo in Y2K you would want to look for. And you would actually be surprised at how many things you're probably passing up, like a hoodie like this, that can sell well. So this is what I would consider more bread and butter in Y2K. This is just a Y2K spell out hoodie. We listed it for $35. It did sell for our full asking price. Next up, this is a Wrangler men's vintage pearl snap shirt. I come across a lot of Wrangler pearl snap shirts. The only ones I will pick up these days are anything that looks a little more unique than everything else. So the brush popper shirts, or something like this. Otherwise, we're probably leaving it behind. This one, you can tell, has some really cool horse graphics on it. We listed this for $50. It did sell for our full asking price, and it took about 3 weeks to sell. Here's another Bryn Walker piece, showing you this label once again. Again, with the exaggerated legs. So you can see these are like the balloon barrel legs. Very trendy. We listed this for $50. It sold for our full asking price. These actually sold the next day after being listed. Here's another Y2K piece. This is American Eagle, which I've had some pretty good luck selling their Y2K pants. These had quite a few things wrong with it, but we made sure to spell everything out. We listed them for $40. They sold on an offered watcher for $34, and they did take a few months to sell. Next up, this is another Y2K find. We did not use Y2K in our title, but it did not matter. They still sold. It is Gap. Denim overalls, vintage overalls period, perform very well. I think they definitely elevate an item. Not to say that every overall on every brand is going to sell. You definitely still want to do your comps, but generally speaking, overalls really elevate an item because companies don't put out a ton of them, so it makes them a little bit more rare. These are from 2002. They did have some paint and some issues with them, but we still listed them at $45. They sold for our full asking price, and they only took about a week to sell. This was actually a really surprising find. This is the brand Skies Are Blue. I want to say this is sold at like TJ Maxx pretty often. I found this at the bins new with tags. It was a blazer. It was a size large, and I was like, what the heck? I almost threw it back in because I was like, I don't sell Skies Are Blue. But I was like, let me just look this up because maybe all the right factors are there. And I was actually really shocked at the sell-through rate and the prices that people were paying for Skies Are Blue blazers, particularly if they're new with tags in a size large. So I picked it up and listed it for $35. It actually only took a week to sell. I was so shocked. And it sold for a full asking price of $35. So this goes to show you never want to completely discount a brand. Use what you know about factors, and if all the right factors are there, it might be worth doing a comp on at the very least. This is one of my favorite brands to pick up recently. Whose nails are these? They look so pretty. I think this is my new hire. This is the brand Pact. They are a sustainable brand, very trendy. They came up on Poshmark's trend report several months back, and I think people have just been buying them ever since. I really love picking them up. They are very high quality, and everything that I pick up in Pact always sells. I think that's going to continue, especially in wide leg pants. Like I said, wide leg exaggerated pants are just very trendy. So these ones we listed at $35, and they sold on an offer to Watcher for $30, and these only took about a week to sell. Next up, a pair of Lululemon shorts. I feel like I show Lululemon shorts in every What's Sold video, but I always want to share them with you guys because shorts is definitely a category people pass on, not only at regular thrift stores, but also at the bins, just because they are less substantial pieces. However, one thing I do know that sells well in shorts are the Lululemon shorts, which is not true for everything in their brand anymore, but they're shorts that are like running shorts like this. Definitely still a bolo. I sell them anywhere from $30 to $40 all day long, pre-owned. These ones were the speed up short. We listed them for $30. They sold for full asking price. And these ones only took 5 days to sell. All right, moving on to some more bread and butter pieces. I actually have the next 3 are all the same brand. They are Ralph Lauren. You guys know I love picking up Ralph Lauren. It really depends on what it is. I did that deep dive a while back. I need to do an updated one because there are a lot of things I did not include that I know now. But one thing I do know, just bread and butter wise with Ralph Lauren, is that the men's larger sizes do well. So this is a Ralph Lauren men's just dressy button-up shirt. We listed this originally for around $30. We've since dropped the price. It sold for $25, and this is a 3X big, so much larger size. This one is a 2XL tall. It is a men's short sleeve button-up shirt. We listed it for $30. It sold for full asking price. And lastly, a 4XL men's older polo listed for $30, sold for a full asking price. This one and the last one I just showed you also had flaws, and they sold for more than the one without flaws. So I think it's kind of hit or miss with this brand. But what I do know is that the larger sizes, the value and the sell-through rate seems to be there. All right, moving on to Poshmark. I did have some good sales on Poshmark. This is a brand that I have been picking up quite a bit lately. They do retail for a lot. They are Rails. And this one I couldn't say no to because it was a longer length dress and it was new with tags. So this is the Beatrice animal print dress. It ended up selling for $65. If you guys come across this, it might be a longer tail sale. But definitely there is a following for it. And like I said, it retails for a lot. So if you price it correctly, it can move quickly. Next up, Free People. Do you guys notice anything about these pants? It's that exaggerated leg style again. So these were a wide leg. They look like capri or crop cargo pants. They were new with tags and they ended up selling for $53. This is a Maeve by Anthropologie. Love picking up pretty much any Anthropologie thing that is a size large or higher. This one was an extra large. Plus, I love picking up their longer length dresses, which this one was a tiered maxi dress. All of the stars were aligned with this dress, and it sold for $75. This is kind of along the same lines as Ralph Lauren. Tommy Bahama is one of my consistent men's bread and butter brands for me. I try to stick to their silk stuff, but every now and then I get a piece that I think will perform well and sell for about $25, and I go ahead and pick it up. Definitely not everything, but they do retail for a lot, and they have a following. This was an extra large, kind of burnout looking men's polo, Pima cotton, size extra large. It ended up selling for $22. Here is a newer brand to me that you guys might want to keep your eye out for and be on the lookout for. It is Hey Gang. They make sweats from what I can tell, and they do have a pretty good following, and some of their pieces sell for quite a bit. So this is a Hey Gang, pretty plain unisex hoodie. It sold for $70, which is crazy. All right, I've talked about this brand before, but it's been a while. It is Onitsuka Tiger. Definitely more of a Y2K brand that has made a resurgence. These are a pair of those chunky sandals, which are very in right now as well. These ended up selling on an offer of $70. This is a piece I have had for a long time. I had this listed, I want to say, around $250 originally. It did not have a size tag, so we had to estimate size, and I think that's the main reason it took so long to sell. Plus, we probably should have at some point popped this onto a mannequin because our cover photo, it's doable, but it doesn't look the best. And so this has sat and sat and sat. I finally got an offer and accepted $123 for this. Still great sale, just not something, it was far off from what I thought I was going to get for the item. Looking at this, we definitely could have elevated the piece a little bit more. This is another designer brand. This is Tadashi Soji. And I definitely don't pick up everything in this, but certain pieces that, you know, are part of a certain trend might do well. This ended up selling on an offer for $60, which is a little low for this brand, but again, sell-through rate is not very high, so I take what I can get for each item. Here's another Ralph Lauren piece. This is actually a kid sweater. This is another one that has sat for a little bit. I think we originally listed this for around $40, and it ended up selling on an offer for $27. Anything Polo Ralph Lauren with a polo bear, you definitely want to look up. This was an interesting sale. This is Zara. If you guys aren't aware, Zara has a lot of blogger favorites, but they also have a lot of as seen on celebrity pieces. So a lot of people use the brand Zara to, like, you know, I imagine costume designers, wardrobe selections in movies and TV shows. So I see a lot of as seen on TV Zara stuff. This one was shown, I think it was the brand, or not the brand, the TV show Schitt's Creek. I'm sure some of you guys will know. Alexis Rose, yeah, I believe that's Schitt's Creek. But she wore this in that TV show. Really cool piece. Usually if I see something like kind of wacky or out there in Zara, I always do a Google lens on it, because more often than not it is a celebrity or as seen on a celebrity. So this is a very trendy piece in Zara, and this one sold for $80, and it was a pretty quick sale too. So definitely keep your eye out, not for everything Zara, but for some of their more substantial pieces like this. Alright, this is a fantastic brand to look for. It is Rapha, R-A-P-H-A. Very sporty stuff. I think they also sell like some cycling gear stuff. These pair of Pro Team transfer sweat shorts sold on an offer for $42. This was more of a bread and butter sale, but I thought I would mention this again. Lucky brand, for the most part, is like just really oversaturated, but there are still a couple of pieces that are bolos. One of those are their Y2K vintage pieces. This one was not as substantial of a Y2K vintage piece as I would have liked, but I tested it out and it still sold on an offer for $20. If you come across anything heavily embroidered that has the older label, if you look up Lucky brand Y2K sweatpants, do a comp on those. I think you'll be shocked at how much they go for, but this one was a little bit of a stretch, because even though it was the Y2K vintage label, it didn't scream super Y2K, but I still picked up, and yeah, great bread and butter, $20. I would not pass on that again. Next up, this is Mountain Hardwear. This is a brand you might want to start looking out for fall and winter. Definitely not everything that they sell, but in their outerwear, some of their pieces can be good. This is a men's size extra large. It was called the Exposure to Parka jacket. It ended up selling for $46. I have sold men's Mountain Hardwear jackets anywhere from $50 to $100 before. Again, it really depends on the piece, so make sure you keep your eye out and do your comps correctly. This is an athletic wear brand that has been performing really well for me. It is Rhone, R-H-O-N-E. These are the men's commuter pants, and they sold for $45. They're very similar to Lululemon, Public Rec, Vori. I think they're kind of along those same lines, so I really love picking them up. And lastly, this was more of a factor stacking piece. This is the brand Velvet by Graham and Spencer. This brand does not have anywhere close to a 100% sell-through rate, but they do retail for quite a bit. They have somewhat of a following, and if you're able to factor stuff enough things, I think it can perform well. So factor stacking with this item, this is a maxi, so longer length dress. It is tiered, it is a linen blend, and it's got that multicolor rainbow stripe, which is very trendy right now. This ended up selling for $45, which if you guys have ever tried to sell Velvet by Graham and Spencer before, you'll know that that is actually quite a bit for a Velvet pre-owned piece. So if the stars align, definitely do your comps and consider picking up.
Alright guys, so that's it for what sold last week. Hope that you guys enjoyed watching. If you're not already and you would like to be, don't forget to subscribe down below, hit the notification bell, and then if you hit all, you'll be notified every single time I post new content. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.